Welcome to episode 70 of Canes Local. Today we'll look at Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final, Edmonton-Dallas, and a look ahead at Game 5 coming up next. All right, so let's take a peek at what was an elimination game for the Hurricanes. And so I guess first impressions.
Well, first impressions, every game now is an elimination game for the Hurricanes. So I don't think we got to say that past this point. But Carolina finally played Carolina hockey. They didn't try and play Florida Panthers hockey, which I feel like they've been doing all series. They've been trying to muck and grind. In reality, yeah, we can muck and grind a little bit, but that's not our style. We play with speed. We play with intensity. We have a hard forecheck. We have all this stuff. And we just decided game 1, 2, and 3, let's throw caution to the wind and let's try and play their style of hockey. It's like, no, that's not going to work, And I felt like in game 4, we finally, for the first time all series, got to our game and we actually played our hockey. And guess what? We're not going to probably beat Florida 5-1, 6-1. Like, that's just not going to happen. We're going to have to win all these games by a goal or two. So I think the big thing is Carolina finally got a win in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now it's like, okay, can they build off of that? Because if so, that's, hey, we're not out. We're not out. Yeah. We might be dead, but we're not out.
Yeah. So, no, well, we're not dead either. But I think I think we said it early on, and I'm not sure if we said it on here or I said it to somebody else, but I said, the thing with Florida is that, they were the team coming in with a lot of, they were connected because they had just finished up a series. They didn't have a break. They didn't have any time off. And I said that the longer we go into this series, that the fatigue factor or the conditioning factor is going to come, it will come into play. And Carolina got to their game last night, and Florida didn't have an answer. I mean, they had opportunities. I'm not going to say they didn't have opportunities, but I honestly believe that, if we just chip away at it, and if Rod can keep them from getting too far ahead of themselves in their mindset with these younger players thinking about the next game or the game after that or whatever, and just think about my next shift. And from as being a player, if you think too far ahead of yourself, you're going to screw yourself all day long and twice on Sunday. So I agree. I think they finally got to their game. They finally stopped trying to run over everybody, and they started playing with pace. And puck pursuit was absolutely paramount last night, and they did it. They won battles. They got to the puck first. They won those 50-50 battles. And I was looking at the stat today, and is the number of hits per game. And last night was the lowest we had in the whole series at this point. So we had 37 hits last night. They had 52. Every other game, we out-hit them in the first game, and that was it. And you saw the result.
Yep.
And we were right on par with them in the next two games. And it's just, we can't run around. We can't, to your point, we cannot play Florida Panther hockey, because if we do, the first 3 games happen. And we just got to get to our game and and have pace. If we do that in game 5, then I see no reason that they can't come out of there with a win.
Yeah. And speaking of the young players, I thought 2 of our young players have been leading kind of the charge in this whole revitalization, I'll call it. And Alexander Nikishin, since he stepped back into the lineup, has been lights out. I mean, not skipped sure, I can maybe see what Rod is saying about game 5 in that Washington series. He had a couple hiccups that Rod maybe didn't love. End of the day, this kid's a player. Like, he's a player.
Yeah.
And he's going to be very good. And it's just going to take, he's going to have mistakes. He's going to have hiccups, but you can see it right now.
Yep.
Like, he's playing against the best competition. This is the best competition. This is the defending Stanley Cup champions. And he does not look out of place. If anything, I think he's excelling.
I think so too.
Like better players on the ice.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, that was his third game, really, in all essence.
Third NHL game.
So, I mean, to do some of the stuff he was doing, and what's really impressive about him, anybody that's listening, go back and watch the video. he is so poised with the puck in his own zone. He doesn't panic. And he made 2 or 3 escapes last night where I was like, you know what? An NHL level defenseman at 22 years old or 23 years old, that just doesn't happen. So you can tell he's played at a high level elsewhere. You can tell he's gone through the grind of a pro season, and he is. I agree with you. I hadn't watched a lot of his KHL games at all, but man, he is so fun to watch, and like he is so good. And that backhand pass to Stankoven last night was absolutely ridiculous. That's just having great hockey awareness and hockey IQ, to do that and to do it on the rush and on the fly and just rip it across and on the tape. Not even, he didn't have to even gather it. It was right on his tape and he was gone. So yeah, I agree with you. I love the way the kid's playing. And then the other guy for me is Stankoven. He's just,
that was maybe my second person I was going to bring up.
Yeah, I know you were. So I beat you to the punch, but he's just so good. And he's working his bag off and he works his ass off and he's got such skill. You're really excited that, that's the way the Dallas trade worked out. And we got a young player like that. And he's only 22 years old. So he's got nothing but high expectations and high ceilings because he's not even as good as he's going to get. So you give him a couple more years.
I don't even think he's really that close.
Yeah. So it's exciting to watch him play the game because he's fast and he's a buzzer. He's like a hound. He's a badger.
He's a water bug.
Yeah. Actually, I think Bissonnette called somebody last night a badger, but a honey badger. That's what he called Martinuk. And I said, that's exactly who Stankoven is. He's just a more skilled honey badger, and it's just such a fun to watch him play the game.
I know. And if you go back and look at like the initial, and not to get too far into the weeds on the trade portion, but if you go back and look at the initial, where if you were to tell me that we got rid of Jack Drury, Martin Necas, a second and a third for 2 first, Logan Stankoven, and Taylor Hall, I'm taking that trade twice on Sunday and running for the Hills. Yeah. So I at the end of the day, yes, the whole Mikko Rantanen thing did happen, sure. But I still think we came out the winner in that trade overall. If you're asking me between all 3 teams, maybe Dallas. But for what we gave up to what we got in return, I think we won in that sense of the trade. Yeah. But yes, I couldn't agree more with you. Logan Stankoven has been nothing but bright spots and shiny stars, basically.
Yeah.
He's been all the sticker emojis, anything you can give him, he's been exceptional. And it's hard to, it's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I love how Jackson Blake played in the regular season, but come playoff time, I haven't loved his game overall necessarily. And then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if only he played more like Logan Stankoven. I also forget Logan Stankoven went to the Western Conference Finals last year before he even started his rookie campaign. Yeah. So I got to give Blake a little bit of rope and a little bit of understanding of like, okay, this is your first kick at the can of these things. But man, if Logan Stankoven can become, twice as good as he is now, he's going to be an exceptional hockey player. Like he's already on that level. And if he can just gradually continue to get better, we got a good one. And this is going to be a very, he reminds me a lot of like a Marty St. Louis in the sense of Marty was never as much of a honey badger, but the skill wise and the ability to see through traffic and finagle through traffic, it's very reminiscent of how Martin St. Louis used to play the game, where he was never the biggest guy, would get beat out for size in the corners a lot of the time. But it would always, and I feel like Blake had this in the regular season, but when push comes to shove, Stankoven's proven he's got it in playoffs too. But the ability to finesse yourself out of traffic in a tight space, it's something special to watch. And I'm excited that we got him. I'm excited he's a Carolina Hurricane.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think Blake, though, I'm going to give him a little bit,
because I'm giving him rope.
I think he's actually come, to be honest with you, after the hit that just about killed him, I think he played better yesterday. He really did. I mean, he played.
He did, yes.
He didn't play with any fear. He's like, he said, okay, it's like, that was hard for sure, but
That's probably the hardest you're going to
yeah.
receive in the NHL.
So he played with a lot of pace last night, more so than I've seen him. He got bumped down to the fourth line, only playing 11 minutes. So, but he's still, like I said, he still played with a lot more pace, and doesn't seem to be playing. And you made a comment offline that we're playing scared, we're playing in fear, and I don't see he's not doing that. He didn't seem to be doing that last night. Again,
The whole team didn't.
everybody else was doing the
Yeah.
same thing. So he followed suit. So he's going to be, he's a sponge. So whatever everybody else does, he's going to do, and he's going to compete. And like I said, these young guys that we got coming up, there's so much promise in this program, in this lineup, that it's really going to be exciting to see where we go 2, 3, 4 years from now.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, especially when you're talking about guys that haven't even made NHL debuts yet, or not, I shouldn't say playoff debuts, like Bradley Nadeau as well too. I mean, he's looking extremely promising as well. So the fact that we have so much young talent already, and on top of that, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Not very many teams can say they have both a young pool of talent to pick from and they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. I promise you Edmonton can't say that. I promise you Dallas can't say that. And I promise you Florida can't say that.
Yeah. No,
so
you're right.
Again, yes. Are we doing great in the Eastern Conference Finals? Absolutely not. Could it become great? Sure. 100%. But out of the other 3 teams that are here, we're the only ones that got anything of a future still.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think it's a credit to how we've dealt with trade deadlines to this point. But at a certain point, you also have to do what Florida does and do what Edmonton does and do what Dallas does and really kind of sell off the future a little bit to really bring back assets here. So and we kind of all agreed at the beginning of the year, this wasn't the window to do it.
Yep.
But I guess we kind of did go for it with Mikko, but I mean, it is one of those things that at a certain point, yes, future is great. Future is awesome, but you have to flip that future in order to get wins. And like I said, like we kind of said at the beginning of the year, this was not the season that we were expecting to have. We were not expecting to be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So we're going to take that with happiness. But there is a point where you got to flip the script and be like, okay, we got to start selling off some of this future stuff in order to get some players now.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what Tulsky does in the offseason to kind of what his mindset is. Is it, hey, we're 2-3 years away from a cup, or is it we think we can win right now? Because I think that's going to be if he thinks we're still 2-3 years out, we might add a piece or two, but we're going to try and retain a lot of that salary cap in order to sign a lot of these guys. I mean, Blake's going to be Stankoven's going to be off a contract next season. Blake's going to be due for one, not next season, but the following season. He'll be ending. Jarvis just got his contract. Who else there's another contract that Alexander Nikishin will be done after next season. Yeah. So we got guys that we're going to have to sign at some point. So it does kind of make it a little bit interesting on what Tulsky does in the offseason. But hey, this season ain't over. We're still fighting. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. And I think the only, well, not the only, I guess, dark spot I see, not shiny star, but it's getting better. Was the first 2 games was a penalty kill. It was absolutely atrocious. I mean, it was like our bread and butter through the first 2 rounds. It was we were the best in the NHL all season long, and then all of a sudden we couldn't do anything. It was like we were, pylons on the ice. And but I will say that game 3 and game 4, we didn't give up a power play goal. And you saw the end result in game 3 wasn't the same what it should have been. I guess it is what it should have been based on the mistakes that were made, but it wasn't based on it because of the power play, because of the penalty kill. It was basically 4 turnovers.
Was it a special teams game?
Yeah, 4 turnovers in the second period of game 3, and that was it. 4 turnovers, 4 goals. No, it was in second period.
In the third. No, in the third of game 3. It was 1-1 going into the third period, and then we lost 6-1.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, we got my periods.
No, don't be sorry. You're good. So, you're thinking game 2, second period.
Yes, I am.
That's where we came off the rails in that game. But yes, at the end of the day, we came off the rails in that game. Thing that irks me, and maybe again, it's just this is a learning year, and we had to learn. if that team showed up game 1, the team that played last night, we'd be in a whole different series. Like that's what kind of me is. It's like this team has the capability to beat Florida. I'm being truthful. This team has the capability to do it, but we have to play our game and nothing short of it. We can't afford to have a period off, and that's what we've seen all series is we've taken a period or 2 periods off, and then, hey, it's 6-1, we're down, and now all of a sudden we're gonna try and galvanize the group. No, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
but it's like it's good to see that we're finally there, and maybe it's a learning curve, or maybe it's the changing of the mojo. Maybe we reverse sweep this series. Maybe we do it, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I know it's definitely gonna be hard. So, heard rumor today that Chatfield is close. He may go. Then Walker, not sure exactly on him, but at this point, I guess if one of the two goes, then obviously Morrow comes out of the lineup. But what if both of them can come back? I mean, who comes out? Does Nikishin? Does he come out of the lineup, or do you? I mean, I keep him in based on what I saw, last night. And but again, it's a small sample size, 2 games. Of course, Orloff looked like a dumpster fire in game 3. But after,
and to be fair, I thought Nikishin looked good in game 3 as well too. So I mean,
I
out
agree.
of the 2 game sample size we saw, it's tough to say who plays, who doesn't. I think Nikishin has earned his name into the conversation of being a regular starter at this point. I don't think Morrow's quite there yet. So I think that if one comes back, Morrow comes out, and Nikishin stays in. But I think he's making it tough on Rod. It's no longer an easy decision that if one's back there or both are back, they're both coming in. I think at the end he ends up playing both Walker and as bad as it is, I think he ends up playing Walker and Morrow. Just because we know Rod and he's very kind of hesitant to go away from what he's comfortable with. But in the same breath, he also doesn't typically change a lineup after a win. So if they're both ready to go for game 5, we just had a winning lineup. So, hey, we can't change what's working.
Yeah, no. And I think the other thing too is that what it does is it gives you the option to not have to force one of the 2 guys back into the lineup if they're not 100% ready to go. Now, if Nikishin was actually an absolute train wreck and, they don't trust him, they don't put him out there. He played 18 minutes last night. So if you don't trust him, then
PK too.
Then you may have a different story where either both Walker comes in and Chatfield come in. But if one of them's ready to go, then I definitely think that Morrow comes out. To your point, he's just not. He's still got to develop. He hasn't played in the pro level. And I mean, he played the American League. But
let me give Scott Morrow his flowers in this regard. His first playoff action is against the Florida Panthers. That's tough to do. Game 1, it's game 1. I get it. There's absolute ton of nerves. I think since game 1, he has progressively gotten more comfortable and better and looks more and more like he's right on the cusp of being NHL ready. I think there's just a little bit of speed and learning of the game that can still take his game to the next level. And that's where we need him to be at in order to be. And the funny thing is that I don't even think I think it's seasoning. He doesn't need another year in the AHL. He needs a full season in the NHL to really get that next step of so it's like, I'm not saying that he needs to be out of the lineup and in the AHL next season and not see. No, I want him here next season. It's just right now where he's at versus where he needs to be. He's missing the NHL experience. That's the difference between him and Nikishin is Nikishin got the KHL experience, which is, in my opinion, still a step ahead of where the AHL is. So he was still in a better league than that AHL. I'm not saying the AHL is bad. It's an unbelievably good hockey league, but Morrow doesn't have that pro seasoning yet.
Right.
And Nikishin does. And you can tell the difference between the two.
Yep.
One looks way more comfortable in a physical, tight hockey game. One tends to throw a little bit more of the pucks away in those tighter situations. That's the main difference. I think Morrow has improved exponentially since game 1 to game 4. And I think his minutes have kind of gone up with that as well too. I know he didn't play basically anything in the second game, but I think past that point he's starting to get more and more minutes. But I agree. I think I shouldn't say they will not change a winning lineup. I think if one is healthy, they will probably rotate him in for Morrow. But I think if both are healthy, I think it's going to be a tough decision to take Nikishin out of the lineup.
I think it will too. I don't see him coming out of the lineup the way he played.
And let me say one more thing. It could be somebody other than Chatfield and Walker that are the ones sitting.
Yeah.
So that's like it's not just those. It's not just between those three guys. It's in my between 5 different players. Because Rod's not going to sit Brent Burns, so it's just. And to be fair, I don't think he's deserved to be sat so far through this playoffs. I think Brent Burns is having a exceptionally above average where he was all season playoffs. Is he being out of this world amazing? No, but has he been a liability? No. So we take the wins when we can get them in that regard. But now it's like, okay, is Nikishin better than Orlov? It depends on the Orlov we're getting. If we got the Orlov we got last night, maybe not quite there yet. But if we got the Orlov that we got in game 2 and 3, he's better than Orlov.
100%.
Same thing with Ghost. Same thing with Ghost, where it's like, it depends on the Ghost we get, or Chatfield or Walker. And now Walker is a little bit of a, actually, I shouldn't. If Walker's healthy, Walker should be playing.
I agree with you.
Let me just say that.
Yeah.
If Walker's healthy, Walker should be playing. Chatfield's healthy, he probably should be playing as well, too. The other two on the left side, that's where I have the more question marks on. And it's like, okay, now if Walker and Chatfield are healthy, I could see them drawing still in and someone getting pulled out for Nikishin to still play.
Yeah.
But I think that we're going to probably see a very, very similar lineup with maybe one change as far as who comes in for Morrow. I don't think anything else is going to change. I don't think both guys are going to be healthy for game 5. Maybe Chatfield will be ready to go, but I don't believe Walker's taking the ice yet. So
yeah. I don't, I agree with you. I think that, if one's ready, they come in, Morrow goes out, and Nikishin stays in because he's earned it. So, before we bounce off game 4, and I know we talk about this guy ad nauseum, but oh my gosh, how about Jacob Slavin? I mean, he was an absolute animal last night. I mean, he was everywhere. He was doing everything. I mean, I can't say enough good things about how this guy plays the game. And he plays it so.
There's not enough good things to say.
He plays it so honest. I've never seen anybody that plays the game more honest and intentional than he does. It's unbelievable. And it's shift over shift. I mean, he'll have a bad game here or there, but I think it's a symptom of everything around him. And but last night he was a man on a mission. I mean, he took that team and put it on its shoulders. Aho stepped up, and I think Svechnikov had one of his.
Svechnikov had a very good night.
Yeah, so he had one
didn't
of his
get on the
best
score
games.
sheet. Or he did get on the score sheet with that little triple pass with Aho.
Yeah.
But as far as like 5-on-5 goals, didn't get on the score sheet there. But I thought out of Logan Stankoven, he was really the driver of the bus last night. I thought Aho had a really good night. I think Jacob Slavin does Jacob Slavin. The one thing this says something. Jacob Slavin makes watching defensive hockey fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard to do, but he does. And it's not just, I'm not just saying that from my point of view. That's a lot of people's point of view. A lot of the people I hear talking about him, it's like, man, he's like so fun to watch him defend. And it's like, how many times in history can you really say, like, I can think of a couple on my hand where it's like, they were just fun to watch defensively. Like, yes, they don't have the offensive upside and everything like that, but like the way they defend is a treat to the eyes. It is actually, and it's like, it's Slavin, it's Lindstrom, it's Pronger, it's Niedermeyer, and maybe one or two more from like the 70s, 80s time frame, maybe like a Ludwig or who's that guy from all those Edmonton teams? He's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, Paul Coffey.
No. Well, yes, Coffey, but he was more offensive minded. I was thinking about the defensive defenseman that won all the cups with them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Haken Lube.
No, he was a forward.
Oh, then who am I thinking of then? Give me 1 second. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
figure it out.
speaking of that, so I guess let's bounce over to the Western Conference. So it's a good segue there, Kyle. So let's talk Edmonton and Dallas. We got Game 4 tonight as we record this on the 27th. This series, it's. I mean, Edmonton just they really. I know you said it. You can't. How do you doubt the two-headed monster? But in reality, they're getting scoring from everywhere. I mean, their defense is scoring like crazy. Their depth scoring is going like crazy, and Skinner's been playing well. Kincaid is healthy again, or not Kincaid, but Calvin Pickard he's healthy again, and Matthias Ekholm is not going to play in Game 4, but he looks like he's getting closer. So
they're saying Game 6.
Yeah.
If it goes to 6, he's going to be back in Game 6. So I had that note written down. So, but I'll tell you what. Yeah, I said I can't bet against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I can't bet against the Oilers, I should say now, because it's not just the two of them anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, they're getting their contributions. It's not been the same contributions they've gotten in years past. Let me tell, if these two guys actually wake up and start playing like they have played in the years past, last season they were averaging almost 2 points per game, and right now they're at like 1.12 or something like that. Can you imagine if this team all of a sudden gets an extra point from both Draisaitl and McDavid on as a goal guaranteed or a goal and an assist? It's just those two guys haven't even given us their best yet, and this team is 2 wins away from making a back-to-back of Stanley Cup Finals, and I don't see how Dallas can stop them. The one thing that draws me into so much question is they have no depths or 5-on-5 scoring at all. Like Dallas has zero.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Outside of their power play, they have not generated much offense all playoffs. They got squeezed by in that Colorado series. The Winnipeg series was majority power play goals. And then this series, they've gotten nothing from their depth. Like Matt Duchene, nothing from him. Jamie Benn, nothing from him. Sagan hasn't really shown up. Wyatt Johnson hasn't really shown up. Is it Nick Robbins?
Nick Roberts.
No.
Jason Robertson.
Jason Robertson. Yeah, Jason Robertson hasn't shown up.
Yeah.
Like outside of Mikko Rantanen, Rope, and Mikael Granlund, the aren't getting any offense, and it's like you can't rely on 3 guys. This is the same thing we said with the Edmonton before. You can't rely on 2 guys to get you all the offense done. Well, in Edmonton's case, when you got the 2 best players in the world, you can. But Dallas doesn't have that, so they need their whole lineup scoring goals, and they're not getting anything.
Yeah.
Funny enough, and call me crazy, I kind of liked it better when Thomas Harley was defenseman number 1 for them. When he was eating up the most minutes, I thought they looked like a more congealed group, and I thought they they moved the puck up ice better. I thought they were smoother. I thought defensively they were more stout. Not taking anything away from Miro Heiskanen, but
isn't he playing
Isn't
he playing alongside Heiskanen? I thought he was.
I don't believe so. I thought they were left-hand 1, left-hand 2.
No, maybe they are. Maybe he's in the second pairing. Yeah. So
yeah, because I thought it was Heiskanen and Lundell, because Lundell is their top right-handed shot defenseman.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So
Could be wrong.
I'm with you. I'm with you though. I think the more and more I watch Edmonton, they're so good top to bottom. I mean, there's a reason they went to the Cup final last year. I mean, and they're back to it because they added a few pieces, but I guess the only wild card for me why I wasn't so sold on him is I wasn't a big believer in Stuart Skinner. So, but when he plays well, man, he's really good. But he also has a tendency to lay a turd every once in a while. So,
it's Peter Mrazek. It's Peter Mrazek. He's Peter. Like in all honesty, like when the team is playing well in front of us, exceptional nights. When the team's not playing well, they don't play that great. So, with the team playing the way that they are currently, he's gonna have great numbers. And I kind of knew that going into this, and that's why it's hard for me to bet against them because are you really going to have an off night from McDavid and Draisaitl 2 nights in a row? No, you're not.
No.
They gave each other that glance in the first game, and they're like, "No, this shit ain't happening again." And now they've gone back to back games, won back to back, and it's like with those two guys, you're not going to have 2 bad performances in a row. I think, and Stuart Skinner is very much as we said, like Jackson Blake. He goes as the team goes. So if the team's playing well, Stuart Skinner's going to play well. Yep. If the team's not playing well, he's not. So it really goes with how those two-headed monster goes. I don't see those two guys slowing down.
I know, and I think they play
it's cup or bust for those two guys. That's their mindset right now. It is cup mindset. Or it's a dead season. Yep. It sucks.
Yeah. So we'll see, but I don't think Dallas. I don't think they win tonight. I think Edmonton's going to take. They're going to head back to Dallas with a 3-1 series lead, and I just don't see it right now. They got absolutely manhandled in Game 3. I mean, it wasn't even. I don't think it was even close, the way the game went. But we'll see what happens tonight. So
I will say out of every probably. If anybody's going to get their team up and going, not all 4 coaches, but Pete DeBoer, he's going to have those boys ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised in all honesty, the second half of that Game 3, Dallas controlled the entire game, and the only reason they won was Stuart Skinner. So, I wouldn't say Dallas is out of this. I still think this series goes long. I have Edmonton in 6, and I could see it going still 7. But Edmonton definitely looks like the stronger team as of right now. So it's let's see how Dallas responds, because when Dallas is going, and they're just not going right now, but when they are, that's a lethal hockey club. They can put pucks in the back of the net, and they can do a lot of good things, but they just haven't gotten to their game yet. But very similar to Carolina. So if we think Carolina is still in the series, then hey, I think Dallas is still in this series as well too. So
all right, good segue. Game 5 coming up tomorrow night. Heading back home. Home crowd. That place is going to be an absolute jungle. If coming in there, it's do or die, obviously. So, to your point earlier, every game's an elimination game. So, we just have to keep winning, and don't worry about second period, third period. We got to worry about first shift, second shift, and just win every shift, win every battle. And I think that's the only thing. And then Freddie's got to do what he did in Game 3. He's got to make saves early. That because we know Florida's going to push. They're going to come out of the gate. They're going to have
a massive punch in the first period. Yep. Yeah.
So we got to find a way to make that save, and it's proof positive. When we score first, we don't lose hockey games. We shut everybody down after that. It's the way we play, and I think the first goal is going to be important, and Freddie making a key save early in the game is going to be an important building block for Game 5. So I have faith, I have hope. That we're the more rested team, I'll call it. But I do think fatigue is going to become a factor here, because Florida's played I think it's 2 more games than we have. I believe they was 4-1 the first series, 7 games in the second series. So they played a couple more games than we have, and they haven't
also gone to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals.
Yeah, so
2 straight Stanley Cup finals, on the verge of going to their third. Yes.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. So they've been playing a lot of hockey in the last 3 years. So that's going to be
also had the most skaters represented at 4 Nations as well too.
Yeah, so that's going to be
10 guys that were at 4 Nations.
It's going to be a tall task for them. So, but the Canes got to be ready. They have to come and they have to skate their ass off. They have to work. They have to work like they worked in Game 3, and Freddie's got to be good. So, so we'll see. But tomorrow night, 8:00, puck drop, and we'll find out if the team's really wants to play or wants to go to the next game. We'll see tomorrow night. I think we'll know pretty close to right away whether or not we're going to be ready for the game or not ready for the game. But I fully expect them to be ready.
Yep. I can tell you exactly what happens. Either A, if whoever scores first is going to be vital. If Florida doesn't get one in the first period, I think Carolina's got a very good shot at coming out with that game. Carolina, if they get one in the first, even better chance. I think I wholeheartedly agree. I think Florida you're starting to see a little bit of the fatigue factor set in. And again, Paul Maurice is going to have those boys ready to go. So it's going to be an onslaught in that many minutes. It's how do you weather it? And if you can, push back on it. It just because they're going to be coming at you full tilt doesn't mean that you can stop them from coming full. You can push the play and push the pace all the way up into the offensive zone and completely nullify that push from Florida.
Yeah.
But it's going to come with a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of willingness to stick to the system, because that game 3 or game 4 was the first time all season where I think all 20 guys were on the exact same page going into the night.
Yep.
I think every single one of them was ready to go and on the same page for that season or for that game.
Yeah. Everybody was selling out, and I think it's going to take the same effort even more so in the next game. So hopefully, the boys can get it done and head back to Florida. So, but they win tomorrow, then we're back in it. This is a series again. So we'll see what happens. But any final thoughts as we get close? We're about the 40-odd minute mark here. Any final thoughts?
All I gotta say is win the next game, and if you keep doing that, you'll end up with the jug at the end of the year. So just win the next game. Just keep doing it. Just
one at a time.
The next one.
Yeah, one at a time.
Yep.
So, but anyways, so we'll leave you guys there. So thanks for hanging around with us for the last short of an hour. We do appreciate it, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so, or share and send it around, and we'll try to bring you more of this stuff, and send us messages, notes, whatever, of stuff you don't want us to talk about. We're just a couple of hockey. Well, actually, the third wheel of our third pin of our wheel wasn't here tonight, but we just like sitting around talking about hockey. So any questions you guys have, as obscure as they may be, let us know what they are, because we love to research and talk about them. We may not know what the hell we're talking about, but we'll sure find out what the answer is. So.
Give it a best effort.
Yeah, we'll give it the old college try. We'll try to win every shift on the show here. So, for Kyle and myself, appreciate it, and we'll talk again after game 5.